Oh, right. So Yamina has asked, iddah necessary if pregnancy can tested negative. Iddah necessary if pregnancy is tested negative. Acha. So, see, this is you see, but this is assuming that the iddah is only for pregnancy, and I've got detailed explanations um, explaining the wisdom, some of the wisdoms behind iddah. Now, it is, you're right. It is part of it is pregnancy, and it's universal, so everybody everywhere can observe the iddah. The other part, I've said in the past, there's also a social element to it, which people are over. They're kind of they're overseeing. I mean, they're kind of neglecting, or maybe just blindsiding it at the moment, because it is an incredibly important part. I would say, in some ways, as powerfully important as the pregnancy, because quite often when relationships break up, and by relationships I mean like marriages, there is a lot of resentment, and there is a lot of hostility, and this kind of antipathy towards one another, and there's a lot of allegations being hurled around. So people, and unfortunately, a lot of the time people are trying to shame the woman. Okay, now this is utterly unacceptable, but it is unfortunately what happens in human societies. I'm not saying it's and it's acceptable by any standard, but it is it is not uncommon. It's very common that people will be like, oh well, uh, she was she was just having an affair anyway. I bet she was sleeping around, and a lot of the time they slut shame women. Now, if the woman imminently engaged in another nikah, you see, this may cause a kind of tear on the social fabric in terms of jahili, ignorant consequences that are once again not justified, but they, if we're going to be real, they would probably happen in many societies, even in the West. I mean, even here, don't think that, oh, in these societies where people are literate and educated, that they don't have basic human emotions. They do. The amount of times I've dealt with and deal with relationships, the amount of times I've heard people and the stuff they'll say, and they could be they could be professionals. You'd think, oh, a professional wouldn't never behave in that way. I'm telling you, they go erratic. People are like, I suppose rejection is difficult for people to handle. They can't seem to, they don't handle rejection well. And the irony is, even if they don't want it, you know, so two people living together, it could be a toxic relationship. And then one of them says, well, okay, I'm going to file for divorce. And the other one feels rejected all of a sudden. This is the problem with suddenly being shown a mirror. But it's true, at a subconscious level, people are, they can't deal with the fact that the other person doesn't want them, even though it's a known fact that, look, I don't want you, you don't want me, this is toxic. Yet the moment that is said, the ego gets hurt. And so this can cause all kinds of backlashes and things like this. So it's better that there is a grace period, it's only at most 2.5 months before the woman embarks on another nikah. And by the way, I am of the opinion, as many ulama, that the only prohibition for women during an iddah is just one of nikah. They can go out, they can meet people, they can work, they can shop, they can chill out. It's just nikah, that's all. Cool, people, I hope that